Alright, this is the Halloween edition. Here I am in a dungeon. I just finally managed to break out. This this video is not going to have a lot of action. It's just going to be a lot of me talking about scary shit that I've heard over the years. On the other channel that we used to do, we had already done a Halloween special, and we had interesting stories, but the video went on a bit long, and now the channel doesn't exist. So, I'm going to tell you all these things that I've heard. Excuse me. And I'm not going to tell you who told me any of them. I've been given permission by a couple of my buddies to tell some of these scary stories. Can't tell you who they are. Anyhow, we'll get started. So, talking about ghost stories, everyone's probably got one or two. And some of mine are so non-spectacular, I'll just get them out of the way first. Maybe 20 years ago, we had a black cat. We had him since I was a little kid, and I think he was 18. My family has, excuse me, I don't smoke anymore. Conflicting reports about how old this cat was. Long story short, the cat, we had to put him down, and I swear to God, within a week, the quick version is, everyone in the family had heard this cat meowing in the basement. Uh-oh. I guess I can't go that way. Alright, I'll just stay here and do nothing. Fuck you guys. So, one of these days, I think I was early days of a trade that I'm no longer part of, getting ready for work, getting my lunch together, go downstairs, get something to drink, and I swear to fuck, I hear this cat meowing. There's no cats in the house, so I did what any real man would have done, is I ran out of the basement 3 steps at a time, running upstairs, and my mom's like, "What's all the fucking noise down there?" And I told her, I said, "I just heard the cat meow." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I heard that yesterday." And I said, "You couldn't have bothered to tell me that?" She goes, "Well, you're a bit jumpy." And I said, "Well, fuck, hence the fucking sprinting upstairs. Most of you that remember me or know me, I'm not a sprinter. I'm not a sprinter." And other things that I have felt in my mom's house is people standing at the doorway watching me. It's not often, but it's often enough that I can put it in this story, and it's 100% the truth. I'm just going to walk right through this fog. Anyhow, I'll be trying to go to sleep, and it happens till today, and I think I know what the answer is, because when I was a kid, my dad used to do that. He used to go to my bedroom door and just watch me sleep. And I remember even as a kid, 8 and 9 years old, and thought, how entertaining could this fucking possibly be? You're gonna stand there and watch me sleep. And so, as a grown man, and it's even happened within this year, I've been in my old bedroom, which is now the guest room, when I have my kid over, and he sleeps in the guest bed and I sleep on the floor, and fucking 5 times out of 10, it's not a great percentage, but it's often enough that I can report it. It feels like someone steps into the doorway and just stands there, and I turn around and there's nothing there. Excuse me. So that's not some of the more glamorous shit you're going to hear tonight. And like I said, any of the stories that I tell, I'm not going to tell you who told them to me, but they've all said I can kind of just tell the story. So, what else do I have to tell? In my Oshawa apartment days, which was in the last about 5 years ago. Long story short, I believe... Whoa! Shut up. Don't fucking talk to me. Something's running at me. I'm going back to my room. Fuck this. This game is called Justine, and it looks exactly like the other 2 games on this Amnesia collection, and I can't run. So I'm gonna go back and hide here. In the Oshawa apartment days, everyone's probably heard this, where you're in your room trying to sleep and you hear that knock. You know, those old fucking sliding doors to your closets in the 70s and 80s that you know, they're made probably made of some cheap metal, and they're made to look like wood, and they slide and make a lot of noise, and every once in a while, ding, they just get that knock. Don't know how loud that sounded on the microphone. Anyways, that happens a lot in that Oshawa apartment, and usually, like being on the night shift, people say, "Oh, it's just your imagination." Sitting there watching a movie, spending too much time alone, you hear these knocks. It's like as soon as you hear it, you turn your head, and you wait for another one and it never happens, and as soon as you say, alright, fuck this, I'm gonna go back to watch my movie, as soon as you go back to watch the movie, it fucking happens again, as if it's taunting you. So that's just a warm-up. So now, one of the times when I had my son over at my apartment, in the Oshawa apartment, he was maybe 2. Like, he was still sleeping in one of those kid pen things, those little fold-up fucking things that never work smoothly. Not for me, at least. Guess we're not going that way. Anyhow, he was, we were in bed, going to sleep, and I'm in my bed, and he's in the little crib thingy at the head of my bed. And, we had fallen asleep. He needs a little night light on because he's daddy too dark, so I put the night light on. And I woke up shortly after. It felt like someone had knelt beside my bed and had their face right up to mine. I swear to fucking no exaggeration. And it was still kind of dark though, but I felt like I had a glimpse of a shadow kneeling right in front of me, right where my head was. So I grabbed the pillow, weapon of doom. You're not gonna do a whole lot of damage with a fucking pillow. But I swung it to see if I would hit anything, if something was there, and then if it was, I'd have to start going apeshit. But there wasn't. So I stood up. Who put this fucking house together? Look at that, that's bullshit. Call fucking Homes on Homes. Get this taken care of. So after I woke up and realized there's actually nothing there, I still stared in that direction, looking. What the fuck was that made me think that there was something there? And I looked at my kid, who was at the head of the bed, and he was already standing, already looking in the direction of where I was looking. And then he looked at me after, like, oh, you're awake too? So that's a real live occurrence. And one of not one of my closest buddy said, that building's so old, it's probably fucking haunted. There's probably people that have died in that building. Maybe it was a little fucking spirit, a ghost baby spirit that fucking wanted to talk to your kid. So that was a possibility. And within around that time, same thing, I told another buddy of mine at work, this guy's a smart guy, he's got a very complex job, he's a no-nonsense dude. And I told him about this dream that I had, which was the first time I'd heard about it was Inception. So they'll say, oh, you just dreamt that because you saw it in a movie. Anyhow, the dream was that I was in my parents' basement, trying to sleep. And then I woke up and my kid's playpen thing, he was there, I picked him up, held him in my arms, and he slipped out of my arms and landed on the ground. This is the dream. And in the dream I picked him up and he was limp, not moving, and I was scared as fuck. Scared as fuck. So anyways, it woke me up, or so I thought. So I'm waking up, is what I believe. I woke up, looked at him again, and he was in the crib. I could see him in perfect color and everything, and he was asleep with that little baby thing in his mouth. And then I was awakened by my mom from upstairs saying that my kid was being dropped off. Let's open the door and see what happens. Nope, no such fucking luck today. Fuck you guys. So that to me appears to have been a couple of dreams within a dream. And also in that same amount of time, within that year, I'd had a couple of really raunchy, horrific nightmare dreams. It's nothing I can recall too clearly, but they were all just such negativity, because I was watching a lot of scary movies, watching a lot of fucking scary shit on the internet, looking at sites you probably shouldn't look at. There's stuff that, you know, out of simple morbid curiosity, most people do it. A lot of people do it. They go and look at these fucking pictures, and when they go and see them, they figure, oh fuck, I wish I didn't have that in my head. I need to not see it. So you don't go back. But I have believed this for a while, and I spoke to that buddy of mine who I mentioned who's got quite the complex job and is quite intelligent, no nonsense dude. If you go looking for this shit long enough, you sort of invite shit in. And I could be a little bit more articulate than to call everything shit, but what I mean is, all that negativity, that dark and creepy imagery and whatever, there's stuff, there's stories, there's movies, there's pictures. Out of the morbid curiosity, some people get enough, they get a glimpse and that's enough, and other people just are insatiable with finding creepier and creepier and creepier and scarier and scarier. So I got to a point where I had to purposely choose to watch documentaries, comedies, read a fucking book, sci-fi book, because I was getting so fucking saturated with the negativity and the scary shit that I felt like I could feel things in the apartment. It was just too much, and I finally chose to, you know, pull my head out of my ass. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this video is not going to be full of a lot of action. It's just a creepy background so I can talk. Anyhow, this dude that I keep mentioning, he told me, he's a married man, he's got kids. His wife, who I've never met, and you will not hear her name on this show, she's got that curiosity. She likes to watch this, anything horror. The scarier the better, the more hardcore the better. And she's reported, and my buddy has verified that there's been strange occurrences. And he said to her, he told me that he told her this: if you keep fucking looking for this stuff and you invite weird shit into this apartment, I'm canceling the fucking internet, and that's the end of it. I'm not having this fucking shit floating around in here. And I said, I believe that too. If you keep fucking wading in the fucking pool of fucking scary spookery, then something's gonna come and fucking pay a visit to you. So he told me one day someone in his family, no details about the family member, woke up and had some incredibly vivid nightmare, woke up screaming. And then when asked about it later, they said, oh, it's probably just a nightmare. But in that moment, there was absolute terror, and the family members that witnessed it were just fucking shooken to the core. Or shaken. I just said shooken. Let's go with shooken. Hello? Anybody down there? Dal, I love you. No. Anyways. And there was another case where the guy's wife reported having a mark or two. He showed me a picture on her wrist. Or hand. Or something like that. So something had fucking paid a visit to her in the night and left a little fucking, just a little note that should be happening. Now the last story about this dude told me that they were watching a movie and they felt like it would be better to watch it in the bedroom in the comfort of the big huge bed, and let's all get cozy and then watch this fucking nightmare horror movie. So they agreed, and this dude, he dropped an item of his. I can't describe it, I don't want to give too many clues about the man, but he dropped something between the bed and the wall. And it took him and his wife to move this big huge bed. He's got a big bed frame. Moved it about half a foot away from the, bit more than half a foot away from the wall so he could retrieve this thing. And then they had to both body check the hell out of this thing to get it back into place. So the last memory was they'd put it back into place, went to watch the movie, went to bed. Might have had a beer or something. And they woke up and they both noticed that the bed was once again 6 inches away from the wall. And he says, did you do that? No, did you do that? So, what in the fuck moved a bed with two adults in it sleeping? A big huge fucking heavy bed frame. And he told me this, to look in his face, there was absolutely zero bullshit. Just to recap, in case there's my legions of fans watching, there's not going to be a lot of action. It's just going to be the creepy tunnels so I can tell you these goofy stories. So look in his face when he told me this. As a grown man, you know, everybody likes to have a beer at the end of the day, but none of us are so far out to the fucking, you know, he doesn't go on like this a lot. And when he tells you this thing with this look in his face, you know he's not fucking around. He's seen something. And that's a lot more because, like we said, someone searches for that stuff. It sort of opens the way for things to wander around and hang out with you, whether you like it or not. So, then I told him, come on, let me in. Hello, pizza! Anyways, I told him about a couple of stories. I told him about the kid, the dream about my kid. I told him about the little fucking visitor in my bedroom in the Oshawa apartment. And he looked at me and said, no way. And then I told him about another story that I'm aware of. I can't say who told me about it. No clues given about this next story. But I'd heard that someone went to a hotel in Toronto. They were not alone. And quick version is, while trying to sleep, they reported hearing the sounds of people moving in the room, footsteps and whispering and giggling. And I said that would be enough for me to shit my pants and have my soul leave my body. I'm not fucking around, man. If anything, like, I don't want any part of it. I'd rather watch fucking Thundercats for a year than to fucking have any encounter with that shit. So he told me this was pretty disturbing, and then we talked about it later. And I said, do you remember that story that you told me about the hotel? Which hotel was it? And the response was, I didn't tell you that. I don't know what you're talking about. And they were dead ass serious. Not an ounce of bullshittery happening in this one. They swear up and down, left and right, that they never told me about this story about the haunted hotel room. And I said, but that story's in my head because you told it to me. And they said, no, I didn't. I don't know who you heard it from. And when I was made aware of that story, I swear to fuck, it was in that Oshawa apartment. Another clue about, tidbit about that apartment, the chick that I was dating at the time, this is maybe, well, about 5 years ago. 6 years ago now. My kid's 6. Anyways, this chick eventually started staying over while I went to work. She'd drive me to work. She'd go back to the apartment, watch Netflix, pig out. Well, actually, she didn't pig out. She didn't really eat much. Very, very skinny. Anyways, she picks me up from work and says, I think your apartment's haunted. And I said, fuck off. And she's like, nope. And she told me about the tapping. She told me something about a bottle of nail polish that she had left on the counter. No, the coffee table. So she'd go to the kitchen, get something to eat, come back, and it was just gently placed on its side. She didn't hear any noise. It was on its side. And I thought, you're fucking with me. She goes, no. And if I see any more of this, I think the sleepovers are going to be done. You can come to my place. And I said, fucking shit. Because I swear something's going on in that apartment. I've heard other people talk about hearing cats and stuff in their apartments. Let me think if there's anything else I can tell you about. I know people that have books of witchcraft in their living rooms, just on display for people to see. That's a very different type of personality. It's some fucking thing that I wouldn't want to be playing around with. Oh, it's natural. Well, fine, but it's not reality, according to me. Apparently once I've had a fucking truth spell put on me. Somebody put a fucking truth spell on me. What kind of maniac? Well, I think I need the ladder to get down here, do I? Don't I? Do I? Don't I? Come on. Let's have some... Fuck off. So anyways, I tend to not lie anyways. I've always told my kid, if you stay honest and you tell the truth, you'll have an easier time than if you start lying all the time. It's just common sense, you know. You tell the truth, behave, you got nothing to worry about. These liars, they think that they're so smart. They've got... How do we equip the ladder, you fucking whore? Let's just press every button until I get what I want. Oh, I'm making a sound. How do I get that fucking ladder? Son of a whore. Oh well. There's things I've watched online where they're about to try to summon something. And I thought, oh, I wonder what they'll do. Turn it into night vision again? And sure enough they do. But one, I forget who it was, but one of them said, we're going to mute this next segment so that our chants don't summon anything into your home. And I thought, oh, I never fucking thought of that one. So that's the end of watching all that stuff where they light the candles and talk to the air and someone gets scratched. I got no fucking interest in that either. Another buddy of mine from way back, one of those fair weather friend buddies, he said his wife was constantly being aware of just movement from the peripheral vision, like shadowy figures. And again, she was one of those ones that spent a lot of time online looking for, like, fuck man, how to summon demons and how to fucking communicate with whatever. What do you want to do that for? And that's, I don't know, whatever. I've had people tell me that they've had physical contact, like being pushed, so as to keep them out of harm's way. The whole thing You know, the fear of the unknown. It can be as creepy as fuck, or it can be just you apply rational thought to it. They've been telling me since I was in high school, what's the difference between a cow in the street, or pardon me, the field? Huh, there's a cow in the street, kill it! What's the difference between that cow and a fucking steak? Not a whole lot. But it dies, it gets chopped up and turned into food, but before that happens, what has it moving around? Is it as simple as the involuntary beating of the heart? Electric current, whatever that exists in all living things to a minute degree, electrolytes, whatever. Is that all that keeps us alive, or is there a soul? And people believe that there is a soul, and they say that there is no way you can destroy energy. It just changes form. Same with water. It can be ice or water or vapor, but it's always around. So maybe some of these people don't feel like going where they're supposed to go, and they want to hang around and watch what the living people are doing. And the only person I'd know in my family that would do that would be my grandmother, because she was about, maybe, she wasn't full-blown evil, but she was maybe about 75% evil. That's pretty evil. The scary thing is, when I was a little kid, way back in the fucking early 80s, I remember there was a time where my grandmother and my mother and I were walking down the street in Toronto somewhere. And my mother, back when she was a smoker, she said, I'm going to go get a pack of smokes, you just watch him. And my grandmother had never had to work. She came from money, where I don't know where the fucking money went, because I didn't get any. But I'm at this fucking park where those metal, it's all made of metal. It's all just so hazardous now for today's standards. Because unless you grew up in the 70s and 80s, you're a pussy. So that spinning thing, it's just a round platform that spins, and it's got these railings that you can hang on to. And my grandmother started spinning it and spinning it and spinning it. And looking back as an adult, it reminded me of how creepy it was when you watch something bad happening in a movie like The Omen or The Exorcist. Like some fucking bad shit was happening. I even swear I could hear that fucking creepy opera music from the fucking church in the background. And she spun the fucking thing so fucking fast. Long story, I gotta stop saying that. Anyways, the point of the story is that I flew off and I used my face for brakes. And ever the opportunist, my grandmother, by the time my mother came back, oh, what happened? Oh, boys with boys, they just fall down all the time, you know, whatever. Like, little boys are more prone to gravity than anybody else on the planet, right? So my mom's like, whatever. And I'm trying to tell her while I'm sobbing my ass off that this fucking crazy bitch spun me around on purpose until I flew off like a little fucking dart. So, you just tell me, what do you think, what is scarier? All that ghostly shit, or a fucking grandmother that would do that to her grandson? Another scary thing is the amount of lollipops and candies that she'd bring me back from her trips abroad. She'd go across to fucking anywhere where there's fucking people that aren't from here. She'd come back with these lollipops that are bigger than my head, and they contain at least 50% lead. And she just feeds them to me, feeds them to me, feeds them to me. It rotted out. These are my baby teeth that this happened to, thank fucking Christ. The teeth that I got now are stained from fucking coffee and cigarettes, which I don't smoke anymore, but they're solid. But the teeth that I had way back, it rotted out of my left eye tooth. Which one? Yeah, that's the one that's crooked. And one of the teeth on the lower left side, not way back in the molars, but midway, that had to be capped. It was capped at what I thought was silver, but they wouldn't do that. It was probably more like fucking lead or mercury in those days. So, no wonder, every time I swear, here's another fucking scary Halloween thing. You stand me next to a bunch of millennials, which I'm not sure really what a millennials is. Just the dumb ones, I guess. Anyways, you put a radio on, you put it on Boom 98.1, where all the 80s music is, because that's what I like. And you get all these young pukes to walk past it, nothing happens. You know what happens when I walk past it? It interferes with the fucking radio signal. I swear to Christ, just think about that. Just let that fucking sink in. How do I, instead of other people, affect radio waves? And every once in a while I get a song stuck in my head, and then minutes later it plays on the radio. I don't think it's psychic. I think it's the fucking stuff that dentists used to do to me when I was a kid has caused me to be able to pick up radio fucking signals. I'm an X-Man, and that's my power to hear a song that might come on in 5 minutes. Yeah. Even scarier than a fucking evil grandmother, or people searching for fucking ghostly goobly things, is what they used to do to kids in the dentist chair when I was a kid. Because I had to have that thing crowned, and I had to have another one, I think it was just that crowning thing. And, of course they don't bother with, anesthetic or anything, because pain's only in the mind. Well, the mind tells me it fucking hurts, you stupid cunt. So stop it. So what I encountered when I was in there, I think I might have been 5, and if anything like this happened to my 5 or 6 year old kid, I'd throw somebody with my bare hands straight into the sun. That's what I would do. I was in this dentist chair, and there was 2 nurses on my left leg holding it down, 2 nurses on the right leg, 2 on the left arm. So I was a pretty strong little kid. And my kid, if you were to pick him up, I guarantee you, it'd be more difficult than other kids, because he's dense. He's not fat, he's just fucking heavy. I don't know how the kid's that goddamn heavy. Anyways, so they're going away at this fucking tooth on me. And I'm screaming, and if anybody these days heard a kid making that much goddamn noise, you imagine the lawsuits. Just imagine! So, that's another reason I feel like I should be fucking compensated by the dentists from the 70s. Because of the fucking horrific shit they used to do back then. Screaming and crying, blah blah blah. And another scary thing about dentists, my mom had something done in her dental, in her teens, mid-teens, whatever. My grandfather, Mr. No nonsense, no bullshit, flew a plane in the war or whatever. They gave her the gas, and then they did whatever they had to do. And he apparently had sat there and had to listen to his daughter screaming and shrieking and freaking out and all this horrific noise, and he's just about to go in there and kill somebody. And then she comes out smiling and saying thank you to them and see you later, see you next time. Just fucking let that sink in. They gave her the gas. Then they operated. Caused her enough pain to make all this fucking noise. And then when it was done, the memory did not exist. As if it never fucking happened. It's the same as heavy drinking. You go out there and you go fucking pounding them back because they're just going down so smooth. And then you get pilot number B takes over. I think everybody's had at least a couple of, you know I have. Pilot number B takes over. You're still flying around and operating on a weird fucking realm. And then when you finally pass out and you wake up, you have there's a lot that you can't remember. That's a scary thing too. But to have that done in the would you fucking let me in, you motherfucker? I got a ladder here and shove it up your ass. You go to the dentist and they make you breathe this gas for however long, and then they mutilate your mouth. And then when it wears off, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go get lunch now. That's fucking freaky. That's fucking freaky deaky, man. Anyhow, let's cut this off. I'm getting tired of the scenery here. That's the Halloween special with Darjeet5000. I haven't bothered with fucking Twitch today because they only let me do 15-minute videos. So fuck those guys. They all come here anyways. Subscribe to my channel. Click like. It makes me happy. And if you click like or subscribe, you'll have a lot more candy in your little candy carrying things tomorrow night than other people will. And Santa will visit your house first. Thank you very much. Darjeet5000. I be out.